Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Zenithan, and welcome to today's video for Legends of Runeterra. Today we got another set of card spoilers. We got the first champion released too, and a new keyword. We got Yuumi, and we have a new keyword called attach. Before we go on and actually look at the cards, really quick summary of what attach does. Attach says play me on an ally to give it my stats and keywords while I'm attached. When that ally leaves play, recall me. Uh, Pretty strong keyword. It's kind of like uncounterable slow speed buff spells, kind of. Because you use the creature that you attach the creature that has attached to another unit, and then of course it'll pass priority. So you're not really going wider on the board, you're going taller. Who likes that? Pantheon. But yeah, so I think it's a very powerful keyword. It's very annoying. Let's look at Yuumi then. Okay, so Yuumi, pretty good card. Also, quick other note for attach. According to Riot devs, silence and transform effects will not really deal with attached completely. It will affect the base unit, the unit getting buffed, but will not change or remove any of the stats or keywords being provided by the attached unit. So this means Purify Equinox will not really work to kill the attached units. If you purify the unit and then kill it, they'll still get the units back that were attached to it. Minimorph, I think, will not work. Minimorph will just, well, Minimorph the main unit, but the attached units will still be attached. And if you kill the Mini-Minity, they'll get the attached units back. I believe I've seen it said that Obliterate will work. So Obliterate will kill a unit and kill the attached units. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I believe that's been confirmed. So Solari Priestess giving Fallen Comet might be a pretty good thing. But yeah, so attach is going to be a very annoying keyword. Yuumi, from just knowing what attach is, seems like she's going to be a very annoying champ. And she has more than just that. So what is Yuumi? First off, she's a Fae. So Fae synergy is great. I believe also before the attach unit gets attached, it gets any buffs from getting summoned. So, I think it's called Grandfather Fae, a card we saw yesterday. The one that says when you summon a Fae, it gets +1/+0. I think Yuumi will get that +1/+0 before getting attached, so she'll technically give 3/2 of stats instead of 2/2 of stats. So that could be a thing. But yeah, Yuumi is a 3-mana 2/2 Fae with attach. At the start of the round, grant the unit I'm attached to +1/+1. Otherwise, in other words, if Yuumi is not attached to anyone, grant me +1/+1 instead. So at the start of every round, either Yuumi or whatever she's attached to is getting bigger. Pretty strong. To level up Yuumi, either Yuumi or the unit she's attached to has to have attacked 3 times. That's a pretty tough level up condition. So what does she do when she levels up? Well, she's now a 3/3. She gets +1/+1 like most champs do when they level up. She now has Spell Shield. And now when she levels up or the start of the round, instead of just giving +1/+1 like level 1 Yuumi does, now she gives +1/+1 and Spell Shield. So the Spell Shield will refresh every single turn. So you can't just set it up a nice kill. You can't set up like, oh, I'll ping the Spell Shield off this turn, and then the next turn I'll actually kill the unit, because it will refresh at the start of the next round. So you have to deal with the Spell Shield and the unit in the same turn. That's pretty good. That's really, really, really good. And so yeah, I don't know. While I don't like it, I think the best way to build Yuumi is just with some elusives. So Zoe seems like a good unit to attach to, or have Yuumi attached to. Bandle Commando, I believe that's the card. The 2-mana 1/2 that Nexus strikes to create a Hungry Owlcat is pretty good too, and it has Phase synergy as well. But yeah, Yuumi seems pretty good in, say, like, a Yordle in Arms deck, Pantheon decks, of course, Poppy decks. I think there are some pretty good shells out there for Yuumi. She doesn't seem like she's just stuck with one shell. Also, quick note: Fade or Attach does trigger Faded, so that's pretty nice. So Wounded White Flame probably likes Yuumi a lot. But yeah, to attack in 3 times, that's a lot. That's a lot. So I feel like if you've attached Yuumi to a unit and that unit's attacked in 3 times and hasn't died either through combat or just a spell, you're already at a pretty good spot. Now, I feel like it's like, okay, you're ahead, but you weren't necessarily winning, and the Yuumi level up will be like, okay, this will just give me even more of an advantage and really let me take advantage of this tempo I've got going. But yeah, I don't know. I'm scared. I'm really, really scared. Yuumi seems terrifying. Super hard to kill. I have no idea how I'm going to actually kill Yuumi. Fallen Comet does seem like the best way to deal with Yuumi, but outside of comets, how else do you deal with Yuumi? You're gonna have so much removal. You might say, like, what about combat spells or challengers or something? Well, if they don't think their Yuumi is safe to attack, they'll just not attack, right? So I don't know. I'm a little scared, but maybe we'll get some spells and some other abilities that help counter Yuumi, but probably not. Yuumi feels like she's going to be very meta in the upcoming set. Faye seems like it might be good now with Yuumi. Yuumi doesn't really have to go in a Faye deck. It just so happens she is a Faye card. But she does get discounted by the droplet? It's not a droplet. I actually can't remember the name of it. We saw it yesterday. The card that gives a discount for the first Fae you play, like discounts your first Fae by 2 mana. That's a pretty solid card. Like, you might want to play that at least in a Yuumi deck to get a 1 mana Yuumi. That's pretty strong. And I believe all the other Fae or all the other attached units are also Fae, which is pretty good for Fae synergy if you want to go for that. Also, her champ spell, Prowling Projectile. 2 mana fast spell, deal 1 to a unit, grant an ally +1/+0, and then, of course, put a Yuumi in your deck. I mean, it's a fine champion spell, but I would never put this in my deck. Bandle City does not need more pings. You have, between Pokey Stick and Group Shot, Bandle City has more than enough pings. Even in a very, very ping-heavy meta where you want a lot of pings, you've got Pokey Stick, you've got Group Shot, and you've even got Poison Dart too, and I'd rather play all of those before Prowling Projectile. Sure, it does activate Faded, which is nice, but I'm not the biggest fan of it. But Faded does technically mean it's +2/+1, so that's nice. So maybe Pantheon decks might play this as like a 1 of or a 2 of. I could see it. I could definitely see this being played in Pantheon decks, but not over Pokey Stick. Pokey Stick is just so good. But yeah, maybe in Pantheon. Outside of like Pantheon/Faded decks, I don't see this card seeing play in Constructed at all. Next, though, we have a pretty strong card up next. Another Fae, first off. Assistant Librarian. You can actually play this for 0 mana with the... Oh, this is actually going to bother me. I'm going to look it up, what the name of this guy is. Gleaming Lantern. That's it. Gleaming Lantern. 3 mana, 3/3. Each round, the first Fae you play costs 2 less. So you could play this guy for 0 mana if you have a Gleaming Lantern out. I still think you'd rather just play this little guy on turn 2 anyway. 2 mana, 2/2 Fae with Faded. So, Prowling Projectile synergy. Also curves really nice into Yuumi, so that's cute. But yeah, 2 mana, 2/2 Faded, Nexus Strike, draw a spell that costs 3 or less. I've already seen people saying, like, oh, it's just better River Shaper. River Shaper doesn't have to hit face to draw a card, it just has to strike, so that's a little bit better. This is more like a good Chempunk Pickpocket. Chempunk Pickpocket is a pretty bad card. It saw a little bit of play a long time ago, mostly because it was a 2-mana 3/2 that could block Fearsomes back when spiders were extremely popular, and Fearsomes in general were popular, like Mist Wraiths. But that was pretty much only because it was a 3/2 it saw play. This guy, sure, he doesn't block any Fearsomes, but Faded is such a good keyword. The way this thing works with attach is nuts. This one's crazy. And it does draw from your deck too. It's not like it's manifesting or randomly creating things, so that's actually kind of nice as long as you have the spells in your deck to actually fetch, which almost every single deck ever viable in this game plays some cheap spells, so you're always going to get something. In other words, if you've drawn so many cheap spells that your librarian's not drawing you spells, you're probably in a good spot, in other words. Also, it curves well into Zenith Blade. Turn 2 Assistant Librarian, turn 3 Zenith Blade is very, very cute. It'll be what I believe a Zenith Blade is +1/+2. I actually can't remember. That's actually going to bother me too. I'm going to look that up because I actually can't remember. But it's like Zenith Blade is just so good with this card. Let's see here. Zenith Blade LOR. Zenith Blade is you can really tell it's been a while since I've played some Lee Sin or Pantheon. Okay, it is +1/+2. I was right. So yeah, this thing will be what? A 4/5? Yeah, it'll be a 4/5 on turn 3 with Overwhelm if you Zenith Blade it. That's crazy. I'm just going to say that right now. That's crazy. Now, if you're playing this in a Zenith Blade deck, you do have to... It might draw you your third Zenith Blade. Like, turn 2, you play Librarian. Turn 3, you Zenith Blade. Daybreaking, of course. Drawing another Zenith Blade, the second Zenith Blade in your deck. And then you attack in with the Librarian. It could technically hit that third Zenith Blade, which is pretty... Not the worst, but it's not what you'd want to hit, of course. You'd want to hit things like, I don't know, Pale Cascades, Guiding Touches, if you're in a Target, of course. Hush, maybe. But yeah, I really, really like this card. I could see it being played in Pantheon. I don't think you would really go and try to buff this card too heavily in your Pantheon list, but I could actually see this card taking over Saga Seeker. Like, Saga Seeker does come out a turn earlier than Assistant Librarian, but this thing is just, for 1 extra mana, you're getting a lot that the Saga Seeker doesn't give you. For 1 extra mana, you get +1/+0, and that Nexus Strike stuff. Now, the problem with that is that means you're targeting Bandle City. You have to cut Demacia out of your Pantheon deck, so that's a little bit annoying, but maybe Yuumi, Pantheon, Bandle City, Targon has some legs to work with? I don't know. Anyway, the next card. Scholarly Climber. This card, I don't like it. I don't think it's a good enough card for Constructed. I don't think you would ever put it in your deck, but I do think it has some Constructed concerns. Something you need to think about in Constructed. I think it's a great Expedition card, though, for the people who play Expeditions. Big, beefy boy, 4 mana, 5/4, pretty good stats for the cost. Spell Shield's annoying, but that's it. Not doing too much. Decent card to put your attach units on because of the Spell Shield, but I'm not too impressed by this guy. The reason I do think this might see some play is literally just because it's multi-region, so you might see it getting pulled off of Telescopes and Mayors. Like, this is a pretty good hit off of a Telescope and a Mayor. Like, 4 mana 5/4 does smooth out the curve for a lot of decks. If you hit this from say a Telescope or a Mayor, getting a discount from a Mayor, making him a 3 mana 5/4 is pretty sweet too. Maybe Tristana can play this, I think. Before you say like Bandletree, I don't think Bandletree would play this. They already have Telescope to hit their Targon check mark, so Bandletree wouldn't play this. But it's just it's a really good hit for the multi-region manifest stuff. But yeah, that. Besides that, I don't think this guy needs to see play in any constructed. I don't think you need to put him in any constructed deck, except for maybe Tristana or maybe Yuumi. But even then, I think there's better options. Anyway, third page. Got a few more pages here. Only one card on this page. Friendship. 4 mana burst speed spell. Give an ally barrier or spell shield this round. That's a very important thing. I first saw this spell and I was getting a little mad because I was like, this is crazy. This is just Bastion, but better. You're trading out the +1/+1 from Bastion for the barrier clause. And then I read it again and I was like, oh, wait, no, Bastion is a permanent buff. It's a grant ability. Friendship is only a temporary ability. Still, though, even with that said, it's still pretty good. But like, yeah, this is not replacing Bastion in a lot of decks, I think, because Bastion is permanent. This is not permanent. That permanent spell shield is really nice because you can preemptively cast the spell shield in case you're worried about certain things. For example, like Mini Morph. But I do think this is going to be pretty good, though. Bandle City, just the region, its protection spells are not that great. Their best protection spell is probably what? Stress Defense? And it's okay. And we've gotten a couple more yesterday, too, with Heroic Refrain, which is not amazing, in my opinion. And we also got Transposition. So this is actually kind of cute now. A lot more options if you want to play some protection spells in Bandle City and your secondary region doesn't have good protection spells. So I could honestly see this taking the spot of maybe Stress Defense in, say, Darkness. Like, you play Vhagar and then you use Friendship to protect Vhagar. Granted, this card is 4 mana compared to Stress Defense, which is 3 mana, so you can't... That means if you want to hold up this when you play your Vhagar, that means your Vhagar is coming out on turn 5. That's a pretty big negative, but maybe it's good enough. Kind of thankful that it's 4 mana, in all honesty, because it can't be pulled off of a Conchologist. If you could pull this off of Conchologist, that would be terrifying. But yeah, I could see this being as, like, I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan of it, but I do think it does fill a niche that Bandle City was looking to fill, and that is the protection spell place that protects from hard removal. Because Stress Defense kind of protected from damage-based removal. This will protect from hard removal like Ruinations and Vengeances, in theory. So yeah, I like it. And the versatility between Barrier and Spell Shield is nice. You can use the Barrier for... it's not really a dead card that you'll be holding forever waiting for a removal spell, because you can use Barrier to just get a favorable combat trait. So that's nice. Last page, though. One more page. We got a lot of attach stuff here. Some of them are pretty terrifying, in fact. First off, we have Rainbow Fish. 4 mana, 2/1, elusive, attach, and it's a Fae. They're all Fae. I don't feel like I should mention it too much, but I'll say this. 2 words. Elusive, attach. The way I look at all of these attach cards, except for maybe Yuumi, is I look at them as spells. I'm not looking at them as units, so I'm not like judging them based on their stats or anything. I'm looking at them as spells that cannot be countered, that when the unit it buffs dies, they come back to your hand, which is pretty good. But yeah, this is crazy. Like, first thing I can think of with this, with just in terms of curves, turn 3 Wounded White Flame, turn 4 Rainbow Fish, and then if we keep looking more, turn 5 Papercraft Dragon. So you activated Fated twice, maybe even 3 times if you play like a Chain Vest on 3 as well when you play that Wounded White Flame. That's nuts. So you got +2/+2 from the Fated, and then a +4/+3. So that's what? +6/+5 to your 2/4. So that's what? You made an 8/9 elusive double striking unit that's even potentially bigger if you've activated another Fated trigger. That'll win games. That just wins games right there. Now, granted, you're assuming your opponent does nothing during the game, like no stuns, no vengeances, etc., etc. But again, like we talked about earlier, let's say your opponent does vengeance your Wounded White Flame that's been buffed by Rainbow Fish. That's bad. Like, sure, that's bad. That's a big tempo loss for you, but at the very least, you still get the Rainbow Fish back, and you can just give something else elusive. Maybe give Saga Seeker elusive. Give the Librarian elusive. Whatever. But yeah, I think this card is great. I've seen some people say it's way too expensive, which I'll be honest with you, I do like that if it is seeming too expensive, I like that they're playing it a little safe with elusives because elusives always seem to every single meta be in the meta somehow, and I don't like it. But yeah, 4 mana to give stats, first off, +2/+1, and elusive permanently. This is a grant, like that's a permanent, well, no, yeah, I guess you can say it's permanent elusive and it's some stats. That's huge. A lot of things would love elusive. You can use it offensively to push in a lot of damage. You can use it defensively if your opponent starts to play some elusives. Great card. Now, will I play 3 of them in decks? I don't think so. I think it's like a 1 to 2 of at most. I don't think 3. I think 3 is too many. I think in these attach faded, whatever you want to build kind of decks, I think you're going to have to strike a nice balance between attach units and units that want to get attachments on them. And I'll leave that to people who are good at math to actually just take out a piece of paper and do math on how, on like percentages and stuff. It's something that I can't do. I'm too dumb. Sorry. But yeah, this thing is really, really powerful. It's nuts. Yeah, I'm scared of this. Your opponent doesn't really, and here's the thing, even though you're passing priority when you play these attached units, your opponent can't react to it. Like, sure, it's passing priority, but it's like focus, except you pass priority. Like, your opponent can't be like, oh, in response to Rainbow Fish, I play Mystic Shot to try to remove whatever's trying to get buffed. You can't do that. That just can't happen. So that's really, really scary. Next up, though, we got what? Papercraft Dragon. A little expensive, 5 mana. That's once we start to reach 5 mana for cards, I'm starting to get a little hesitant with the card. But it is a huge payoff. Double attack is a super rare keyword for good reason. It's a very, very strong keyword that can just end games. I believe, what? Lucian and Flurry of Fist meta was the only time we've ever seen double attack really in the meta. You know, like Zed, Severe, Flurry of Fist kind of things. And then before that, maybe like Grand Plaza, Lucian. But yeah, like giving 5 mana to give a unit +2/+2 and double attack. I will say this, the reason I'm not too afraid of it is while it's a expensive and a huge payoff, you do pass priority to your opponent after you play this so they can play like Ruination. They can play Concussive Palm, or just other stunts, slow speed stunts if they want to, like Solari Sunhawk or something. So I think it's scary, but I don't think it's too scary. Like that one theoretical curve I mentioned, Wounded White Flame into Rainbow Fish into Papercraft Dragon, is scary, but your opponent's going to be doing stuff to try and stop you once they see your attachment deck. Anyway, the next one. This is the one I think is the strongest out of the 3 attach units that are not Yuumi, of course. 2 mana, Fae, Quick Quill. 2 mana, 1/1, quick attack, attach. For its cost, kind of inefficient. 2 mana to give a unit +1/+1 and quick attack. Not great. For a unit, like a 2 mana 1/1 with quick attack would be awful. I would never play a 2 mana 1/1 with quick attack, but 2 mana to give a unit +1/+1 and quick attack, now we're talking. Giving any challenger this is nuts. That's just crazy already. All right. I look at this card and it reminds me kind of Young Witch, but harder to actually answer. And of course, Wounded White Flame likes this, Saga Seeker likes this, Librarian likes this, Pantheon, etc., etc. This card looks great, I think, and the reason I think it's the strongest out of the 3 is literally just because it's the cheapest. It's quick attack's a relatively strong keyword if you're attacking. Very hard to block if you give your units quick attack, and they might just want to block too, depending on if you put it on something annoying like the Librarian. For example, you play Librarian on 2, you play this on 3, your Librarian's now a 4 mana or a 4/4 quick attack with that Nexus Strike clause. On turn 3, not many things are beating a 4/4 with quick attack when it attacks in. So either your opponent lets it through, you get a card draw from the Librarian, or they chump it, In which case you're like, cool, I got a card basically already by making them chump it. They didn't even get chip damage on my Librarian. So this thing is scary. I'm terrified of this. And the last card. I'm not a big fan of this. Mushroom Ring, 3 mana 2/2, also a Fey. Maybe it's decent to hit from like Fey manifest stuff, but 3 mana 2/2 with quick attack. When I'm summoned or round start, give me power this round equal to the number of other allied Fey in play or attached. So it just basically checks the entire board, counts how many Fey there are on the board and that are attached to units on the board, and gives this guy plus X plus 0, where X is equal to the number of Fey. I don't like it. I do not like this card. I think this card is bad. I don't think this card is constructed playable. I think this is mostly just going to be a Fey payoff for expeditions. Let's assume like you have, because it counts other Fey besides this guy. Let's assume you have 3 Fey on turn 4. Like, let's do like turn 4. You start the round on turn 4, and you have like a Librarian, something attached to the Librarian, and then maybe something else. Like, that's already high rolling a little bit that you have 3 Fey besides the Mushroom Ring out. But let's assume we're high rolling. You'll have a 5/2 quick attack on turn 4. That sounds strong, but it's just not good. I don't know. I don't think it's just good enough. And literally just because of the health. I do not like 2 health on 3 mana units. If this guy had like something else going with him, maybe, but it can get chumped easily. Decent-ish target for overwhelm buffs. So, you know, Zenith Blades and Might, I guess. But I feel like there are just better ways to do that and better things to buff up with that, like the Librarian or Wounded White Flame. So yeah, I don't know. It feels like it's trying to be like a weird payoff beat stick for Fey decks. I just am not a big fan of it. Like, you got to play a lot of Fey for this. You got to hope your opponent doesn't have anything like Mystic Shot or even just 2 pings or Avalanche. So I'm not a big fan, but it looks cute. I'll say that. The art is very cute, but yeah, I'm not a big fan of this in Constructed. But out of all the cards, I think everything is pretty good except for the Mushroom Ring. Everything seems solid. Yuumi seems really, really annoying and hard to deal with. They really translated Yuumi and how annoying she is in League to the card game, so that's kind of cute. And attach is a pretty cool keyword, even though I think it's going to be very, very annoying to play against. It still is very nice to see and looks really cool. I'm still terrified of it, though. Anyway, that's going to be it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. I'd love to hear your opinion on this new keyword too, and Yuumi as well. Do you think she's great? Do you think she's OP? Also, what do you think about attach? I like it, but maybe you think it is dumb, because I know some people don't like it, and they think it is a bad keyword, but I'd love to hear your opinion. And if you guys just enjoyed the video in general, I'd love it if you could leave a like or a comment down below. Always helps out the channel. And if you guys want to keep up with the Legends of Runeterra content, you can always go and subscribe to the channel as well. Also, if you want to watch me play some Legends of Runeterra, you can go and check me out over on Twitch at twitch.tv/Zeneton, where I stream pretty much every single day. Anyway, though, with that all said and done, thank you all again once more for watching this video. And until I see you guys in the next one, bye.